And call to order with Councilman Rowdy being absent, Councilman Hancock, Councilman Mann, Goodrich, Busenbark, and Howland, all here and present. Missing today will be Josh, and so Ryan will be representing Josh for the manager's report. And with that, if Councilman Goodrich will offer us with an opening prayer, we'll follow that up with a pledge of allegiance by Chief Watkins.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful unto Thee for the opportunity we have to be residents of Roosevelt City, for the good place that it is and the good people that surround us. We ask Thee as we meet this day that we will be conscientious of the needs of our city and those we represent, but we will do what is in their best interest and have good discussions on what will best guide our actions. We pray, Father, for the guidance in all that we do, and this we pray for in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. One thing that was not on the agenda was the public comment period. And I'm going to open it up for the public comment period. If anyone would like to step up, or you're like the only one today, so we all look at you. So, okay, seeing that there isn't any, I will move on. And let's go to the approval of business with our previous minutes.
I would move we approve. I didn't see anything.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the previous minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And the expenditures and
I
financial.
haven't seen those yet, so
Sorry. Trying to get that molded down.
Don, I
behind.
added one on there too, since you've seen it.
okay. I haven't signed it yet. I didn't. If you want, Mayor, you can probably go on and come back to that one, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, I can come back to that one, I believe. Then that'll give you all a little bit of time to review it if needed and sign. So,
Is there anything out of the ordinary on the expenditures?
One of the big ones on there is that one for Kolob. That's our first big one for the gun range.
It says K-Lob. Is it supposed to be Kolob?
It's Kolob, yeah.
You might want to just fix the,
Make sure we get it right on the check.
yeah, that's the big thing. It just says K-Lob.
that's funny.
Yeah.
I think, I would just move to approve. I think, I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary there.
Let me, I'll let Bo sign that before we,
That's fine.
before we approve it.
And the other one too,
Reading glasses,
I
Cody?
know.
I'm in denial, but it's
I
happening.
know, I hit 40, I had to start wearing glasses.
All right, coming back to the point of order, we do have a motion on the table to approve the expenditure and financial review.
I'll second.
I do have a second. And any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Okay, let's move down to our very first discussion item, which is our public hearing and a budget reopen. And this would have normally been by Zeke, but Ryan, you wanna touch on that?
Okay, sorry I'm behind the computer right here, so. I'll go through these items for this reopen of the budget. And a few of them, I've got Kirby from Public Works that'll discuss on one, and then also from the police, so I'll go through, and you should have that list, yep, the blue one. Okay, so the first one is just, it's revenue collected from the tree, from the enchanted forest. That's pretty simple on that one, we're just bringing in the 16.5.
And then paying it out, right?
Correct. The second one, this one's kind of a big one. So in the original budget in the beginning of the year, we had money allocated for an irrigation system at the golf course. They're requesting that we move 90,000 of that over for blowers, gators, and a picker. And all this equipment is kind of dated. I talked to Mike today for quite a while, and a lot of it just needs to be upgraded and to safer standards for their employees to be using. So that's what we're asking there.
And the money's coming from where?
It was originally allocated for that irrigation system, part of it. You know how there was,
Yeah, I thought that we had that money and it was going to go, if it didn't go there, it was going to the golf or to the cemetery.
cemetery. It was split. It was split.
So the golf course got half and the cemetery got half.
Yeah, but now that we're close to the new budget year, the cemetery will get, and the golf course it'll just get freshened up. Cause we're not gonna put in an irrigation system in 2 months, so,
Right.
or an expansion. The next three, Tucker, if you wanna go over that.
You need a microphone?
I think you're all right if you speak
Cars are
loud.
pretty easy. I need my glasses on. See where the first one is.
Share with Cody when you're done.
Yeah. So we have a Homeland Security grant, which we go to the RRPC and we ask for a certain amount of money. We usually get $14,000 or something. But they had some money, this $3,500 that needed to be spent really quickly if we could do it. And so that's just grant money that we need to add on because we already had put the 14 in, so we didn't have any allocation for it. So that's money that's coming to us that we need a place to put it.
Where are you looking to put that?
Yeah, well, we've already spent it, so wherever we
Oh.
spent it from.
I was gonna ask you, so what it needs to
It's revenue
It's
collected.
revenue collected, yeah, so they'll, wherever Zeke wants to end up putting it.
Okay.
We already spent that money. The other is liquor control. So liquor control, we get a grant, or we get money for liquor control, which is, I don't know what the formula is, but it's the amount of alcohol that your area sends or sells and stuff, and they give it back to you for enforcement. And we can use it to buy stuff. This year we bought some flashlights and some radars. We tried to get the radars here before the cars were being outfitted, and so we moved money from one GL to another, which we could do without city council. But this money now needs to go back into that, which we're gonna pull from, well, we pulled it from just small tools and supplies. So we pulled it from small tools and supplies, put it into that alcohol allotment so we can spend it through the radars. Now we just need to put it back into small tools. And that's money that's already came in. So basically we had $15,000 that we budgeted, but the check, because of the differences, came in at 19.2, something like that. So this is free money too. And then the animal shelter, we have some walls that need to be repaired. We were gonna wait a little bit, but we don't think we can wait on it. It's becoming a health hazard with the mold and everything else. We have a capital project, which we're gonna put some more kennels in the back building. We wanna take the money, we're gonna hold off on that. But we wanna take $10,000 out of that and put it into the walls in the animal shelter. And then we'll mess with the capital project and the kennels next budget.
Does the county ever help you with things like that? Or
So-
is that all on the city?
Yeah, no, the county, they don't really help with that stuff, but they have a contract, they pay $51,000, I think, for the contract. They don't help specifically with like repairs and stuff like that.
And do you think that's enough, that they're putting enough
The,
into that? Or
the contract is way old, I think it's 2018, it needs to be.
when is it up? You know when the contract?
I think it's been up, I think it was a 2 or 3 year contract, it's been up, but the county has still been paying.
So we need to look at that and update it,
Yeah.
maybe, but,
And Grant knows about it too, I think he has a copy of it's all kind
okay.
of works.
Maybe add that for the May meeting as a discussion, which, especially with looking at budgets, et cetera, we probably ought to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea to, because I agree, the county's not covering enough, and yet we've got the lion's share,
Oh, yeah.
and they haven't seemed to forget we're in the county.
Yeah, and if when we look at that, if we could have numbers of what, I know we've seen those before, but the percentage of what, and some of them are hard to track, we don't know where it's coming from, but
Yeah,
that might be
and
helpful too.
Yep, just a few months ago, she pulled all those stats and, pretty much the county and the city are half and half. And then there's some, they're about 40,
The animals that
the
are
amount of
brought in there
animals
have
that
to
go.
have. Okay.
She has the exact numbers. Any questions on those? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on. The next one's this is a good story here. APR, they're wanting to move their funds into all their donations, so they have $11,540 that they've received in donations. So, and a lot of them, I was talking to Zeke, and they're like a lot of small donations added up to this, so from registration fees or fundraisers that they put on, so that's a good one. Any questions on that?
Me a little bit, and I think I maybe talked to you about it, but do we have as guidelines how, if they're putting on a tournament, do we have guidelines in the city of how those funds should come? And should they be going, if the city has put forth the money to sponsor, help them with the tournament, should they go to a personal Venmo? Could there be a city account set up so there's not, I just feel like there's a little bit of a step there that maybe could be cleaned up a little bit, so that the money's not being filtered through individual people, if that makes sense.
Yes, that does. Zeke would know the details of it, but I would actually suggest that we clean this up in our procurement policy and getting it fine-tuned there, which is on the agenda, but we're gonna push it to the next council.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
Zeke
tend
has
to
a
agree on
plan.
that. I tend to agree on that. That would clean it up and your paper trail's clean.
You say tournaments, baseball, golf tournaments on that?
They do pickleball and
Pickleball, okay.
Pickleball's the example that I noticed,
Yeah,
right?
that moment,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't
the
know
other
that- I
side
don't
of
know
that,
what's
it would,
happening with the golf tournament stuff,
sorry.
but I just think if it's a city kind of funded event, it should probably be funneled back, not for other people, but through the city.
No.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think
you
that
haven't
would-
played pickleball yet.
I think it would also protect whoever has the
Right,
Venmo.
exactly, yeah. Sorry, that's kind of off the budget thing.
no, that's perfect. That gets us lined out for when we talk about it, so. The next one is, so in the original capital projects budget, we had $16,000 set aside for the clubhouse to repair cabinets and part of the kitchen. However, with employees moving on and stuff, it kind of put us behind and we weren't able to get them fixed. So that money there, with the tenants moving into the kitchen, we've come across a lot of concerns and other issues like the heating and air, lighting and plug-ins and the fridge and all that stuff. So we're requesting to move that money for that purpose, not just the cabinets, but the clubhouse
Is that amount enough?
It
Will that
is
cover
for-
everything?
For the next 2 months, yes, it's for this
Oh,
budget year,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. And you'll probably see the cabinets on there for the next one. Bonnie Drive replacement, I have Kirby here to explain this one for $78,200.
Yeah, so, we, finished our replacement of Bonnie Drive, all the reconstruction and utilities in the road. So I had budgeted 300,000 for the sewer line replacement. And so it came in a little less, as Ryan said, 70, what was it, Ryan?
78.
Yes,
78,000.
78,000. So in our new budget year, where we could take this money and put it in the sewer, because it is in the sewer department, but they're not the same account. So you'd need approval from you guys. And what that would do is there's 3 different capital projects that would be scheduled for the sewer department that we have for this July coming up. We could get those accomplished with this money. So that's what I'd be doing. One's the grinder, one's software update for the computers and the system. And so those kind of things would be taken care of with this being transferred from the sewer department maintenance to basically the treatment sewer farm.
And you're not gonna pave it first and then do the sewer line?
No,
Okay.
it was all done. No, we won't do it in reverse.
Good,
But that's what that's about.
thank you.
Thanks, Corby.
Yep, thank you.
And then we've got $600 for the aquatic center. That was for Natalie's uniform allowance. That just got forgotten about and added in the budget from last year. So and the next one's kind of the same thing. We did it for the cell phones, but we forgot about the landlines. Yes, we still use the landlines. So
That's impressive.
yep. So that was 10,000 to make that whole there. The leaf vacuum, if you remember right, in the last fall, we purchased that. I guess some of you councilmen weren't here, but we had that purchase for that, and it was on your PO packet today for that 36,500. All this is just transferring that money over. We already had it, we just transferred it over, so. The next 2 are kind of probably the biggest ones on the list. And maybe you know what? Am I all right to put you on the spot, Tucker? Okay, with the generator, since you've been spearheading that one, are you all right doing that?
Can you talk about this last time?
It's kind of a big snowball now, I guess.
That's why I had you do it.
So this is that same Homeland Security grant that we get every year. We usually get 14 that goes to police. But about 3 years ago, we asked for a generator. And when we were in the meeting, somebody else, can't remember, they said, hey, we got a generator, it was $160,000. And what it is to power the building. So this is a big generator. It goes out in the parking lot, it's diesel. It powers the building in a power outage. We've got the fire department and the police department. And I think when the building was originally set up, I think it was set up to have one, but they canceled it out. We never had one. So fast forward a couple of years and we get a bid for it and it's 300 and, how much is it? It's the 176 plus the 80. We got 80 from the Homeland Security grant and that was gonna be half. We budgeted in capital project another 80. So that's 160 plus the 170 equals, it came up to be $350,000 once they actually got into the building, how they had to hook it up, how they had to go through the concrete and everything else to put it out here. And so the question is do we want to bite the bullet and put a generator in? It would cost us an additional 176. 176 in addition to the 80 that we already had in the capital project, and this is the 80 that we're getting from the Homeland Security grant.
That generator would just be stationary on like a
It's a big-
cement pad. And
Yeah, it would be out, right here, kind of by where the Sally Port is to the police department. And it's a big generator, and once the power, it runs every month, You know, it's got a maintenance schedule and everything else, and the power of the fire department. I mean, we were talking to Ryan, you know, we've had times where the power's out, you can't even get in because it's all just digital keypads and everything else.
And it will be a fixed, not a mobile at all,
No,
right?
it's a fixed, a big fixed generator.
What's the ongoing, maintenance and
It's quite a bit. Yeah, I don't have the specifics on how much the maintenance part is, but yeah, it's quite a bit. Every month there's some maintenance. It automatically turns on and turns off, and you have to do the fuel and all that stuff. So there is some maintenance costs.
Natural gas.
Diesel.
Yeah, we went to diesel. We know more about it.
Natural gas one, you have to upgrade your gas line.
So, yeah, I think this one is diesel is the one that we looked at.
Do we have it in the budget, Ryan?
Yeah, Zeke, I talked to him this morning and he said it's coming from the general fund, so yeah, it's in the budget.
I like the idea of it, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really pretty reliable, but our grid is getting taxed more and more and without a grid. We even have one, so we're the power.
It probably should have been done quite a while ago, but it's not, for sure, it's not gonna get cheaper.
No,
no.
that's the problem. Okay,
We have to realign the budget by diesel.
What's that?
Realign the budget by diesel.
Add another 100,000. Grant must drive a diesel truck.
I don't drive mine anymore.
Any other questions on the generator?
no,
Okay. The last one, I kind of wish Josh was here for this one. He's really good at selling things. I'm just here to present the message, I guess. But so, and Mayor's involved a little bit with this. We had a meeting with the National Fitness Campaign, and they don't do this very often. They actually reach out to the cities and counties and offer this grant. And so we were accepted to be awarded for the grant, and it's $35,000. However, to put in, and so this is for a fitness pad, exercise pad, and I actually got a picture right here so you guys can see what we're talking about. So this side of it is just half of what this proposal is. And so to do it all, the whole complete project's $320,000 and $35,000 of it is grant. So, and the rest, the $265, we would have to come up with. Am I reading that right, Tommy?
Yes, yeah, 300,000 total, correct?
Yeah, it was 320.
320.
Yeah, and that's for installation and everything. So we thought we'd propose it to you. I mean, we weren't deciding one way or another. It's just an opportunity that was presented to us, and wanted to pass that along and at least let you aware of it. And now, one of the locations that was thought about putting this is up at the Constitution Park where the volleyball.
Just south of the
Sand.
sand volleyball fields. There's actually two areas. I'm not sure which one, if they were immediately south or the one just a little further south.
They were looking for shade, and that was one of the locations that we thought would be best if it were to happen. So
Yes. So they actually approached me, and it's an invitation only, but I don't know how exclusive that is. And the idea that we get a $35,000 grant was, anytime you get a grant. Now, this is my own personal feeling.
It's 10% though, like it's not a very big grant.
It just feels like we're gonna sell you a product for so much money and give you a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. So, if the grant, I would really be a lot more motivated about this grant if the grant was bigger. But
Well,
35,000 on 300,000 is like
I,
10 point, or
Yeah.
12, 13% discount as well.
yeah. If we're spending that money and we put something like that in, I will tell you what the public will say. You guys know what they will say?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask.
You know what they will say.
Have we heard of a need or a desire
Yeah,
or anything like
What
this?
they want is a splash pad,
Yeah.
and that's what that money could be allocated for, and that's, we've done a survey, we've had input. The next thing that we should be working towards is a splash pad. This isn't something that even came up on any of the suggestions that they've said. And my other thing too is, I'd really like us to focus on something south of town and just
Yes.
adding another thing to Constitution and doing that.
Well, that's-
together.
I
So-
thought this, since we're talking about a splash pad, the parks at Centennial would be great for a splash pad, because you could build it right into the park.
Right. And the other thing, going along there, by those volleyball courts, and I don't know if we've decided for sure, Cody can maybe help me remember, but as we take the walking path from where it ends at the Neola Highway, and we're gonna circle Clubhouse Drive, come off Arriva, and cross over to get to the walking park at Constitution, it's going to drop below that furthest north ball diamond and come across there to meet up, so it stays off the road that comes by your house, right? So we're not gonna give up any of that parking for EBIC, it's gonna come across below that baseball diamond and then up along the road to get to the walking path. And so I'm not sure where we landed there, do you remember, Cody?
We'd have to
Would
look
have
at
to
it
like
even now,
have the
fence is gone,
engineers,
so
yeah.
That could change some.
So along there, there's kind of a plan to get the walking path to the existing walking path at Constitution, but also keeping them off the road so we don't lose parking for UBIC and ball games and stuff, so.
So this site, I mean, it's not permanent, it was just a suggested
Right.
site, but, coming back, let me bring us back to the pad itself. I really have mixed emotions about it, so the concept I really like, it's just that
I'm a no,
it
just
feels like
because,
more of a discount than anything.
yeah,
so.
well, I'm a no, not just because that, just because it wasn't really in what people wanted in the community. And if we're gonna represent the community, we ought to try to get what, they're interested in, what they would like for the community. You know, so, and this was, like I said, not on anybody's radar, so I couldn't support this.
I don't disagree.
I'm in the same boat.
We'll have to tell Josh, I guess if he wants to sell it, he better be here.
Told you I wasn't a good salesman. I actually had a feeling where that was going, so.
Okay,
But we just thought we should at least present it and let you aware of it, so.
appreciate it.
I appreciate free money, but it's a little bit more appealing when it's
We've had
half or-
better grants for
Yeah.
our stuff.
If the grant was 265 and the city came up with 35, then
Right.
I'd be like, yes, that would
It'd be different.
be no question.
Okay. Do we need to go into public hearing then?
Yes, I would entertain,
I would move we go into public hearing to reopen the 26 budget.
we have a motion to reopen the 2026 budget.
I'll second.
And a second by Councilman Allen. Anybody, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this point, at this time, we have an opportunity for any public comment.
Seeing none, I move to go back to
They're not
regular
residents.
session.
And I'll second that.
Mayor, I move we go back to regular session, seeing no public comment. And Councilwoman Goodrich seconded.
And a second, so, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
This is a discussion, is it supposed to also be an action, or don't we need to act?
Yeah, so now you,
Okay, so I would move, we approve the budget except for the exercise pad. The presented, budget changes or
Budget amendment.
budget, thank you, except for the exercise pad.
I'll second.
So I have a motion to approve the budget with the exception of the exercise pad or fitness pad, fitness courts, and a second. Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Give Zeke a hard time, this thing says 2006, I don't know if you noticed at the top.
I sure will.
The date there says April 7th, 2006, Councilman Allen pointed it out. Yeah.
That was just there. He told me to tell him who caught it, so. I don't know.
Bonus points.
Bonus points for Councilman Allen.
Well, if we're looking for bonus points,
Yeah.
fitness is spelled wrong too.
Finance.
This is getting
Is it
fun.
finance or finesse?
Yeah, finesse courts.
Okay, let's move on down to, we are going to table the 100 East and 200 East agreement. Drew's not here to present that.
Mayor, I would say you're scratching the National Fitness Campaign grant. That was a resolution. So if you were to accept
Okay,
this fitness pad, that's what we would have had to
okay.
accept as well.
Sorry, I went straight to that because we had already
Yeah.
nixed it. And the Officer Tucker, are you up with the East Elementary traffic study?
Yep, I think so. Kirby wants to do it.
And
Kirby's here pretty question. Yeah, if you remember, we had East Elementary that came and they wanted to maybe make some changes to some of the stuff. Kirby and I met with the principal, is it David?
Dave Taylor.
Dave Taylor. And we walked through, and what we came up with is they want a lot more than we could just
Of course.
put some paint on as a crosswalk or whatever. And it started to get pretty technical with where signs should be in relation to the school and stuff. And so we kind of thought that we think that East Elementary, the district, should pay for a traffic study. And then we could make some decisions off that.
What are some of the things that they're wanting?
One thing that we thought would be quite a bit of money, and we didn't know if it was even done, is they wanted one of the crossing walks to go through, that's a T intersection like this. And, which I don't know if that's even to do or not, but where they wanted the crosswalk is a big culvert dip, like it would have to be all reworked and everything else. And then, as strange as it is, where that sidewalk is, the post box is right in the middle of the sidewalk, and so's the Moon Lake pole. And so it just kind of made,
Lots of obstacles.
there's lots of obstacles. And then it came to where signs should be as far as statute goes and stuff. And so an engineer kind of needs to decide what's best. And we also thought,
another thing at that intersection we're talking about where they'd like to crosswalk, it's an uncontrolled intersection. So that
Is that on the
causes-
north side of the school?
Yes.
Like with buses?
And that would cause some concerns where it's uncontrolled for
Right.
the children and stuff. And you get into liability and the multiple sign changes and everything. Should be a study done, in my opinion, by them on the request they want this stuff done. So it's done legally and safely, for the children and everything, everybody involved.
When you say uncontrolled, you mean there's no existing
There's,
stop
yeah, no
sign?
Right.
stop, no,
Yeah, okay.
So you're talking like 6th East and
it's right
Fifth
before
North.
the church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have a ballpark what those usually run? Just
A study.
a study, what,
Yeah, usually about $2,500.
okay.
Is that your recommendation then?
I've got
Do
a
the study.
recommendation as a traffic study. I think that the cost, or if the district should do it, or if Roosevelt should do it, it's up to you guys. I don't know.
I just because I'd like to be good neighbors with the district, and again, I'm on the board, so I probably shouldn't speak much, but I wouldn't mind if we split the cost with them on that, so that we can help keep kids safe as well.
And everybody wants kids safe, we just want it to be the safest.
Right, and I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying, I think if we, as a city, said we'd be willing to split the cost.
Right, and one thing to keep in mind too, that I can't imagine that all the other schools aren't gonna wanna be the same. Very much.
Once the cost, or once the study's done, whoever pays for it, and it comes back and says, this is what needs to happen, and we have to change a culvert, that will be on us, correct?
It
Or will
would,
that be on the district?
it would probably be on us.
So I would kind of lean towards the district paying for the study, if we're gonna have to pick up
Pick up something at the
the
end.
cost
Okay.
of the signage and the cost of the other things.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like let's let the district,
Okay.
especially if it could mushroom to how many schools we have in our boundaries, and let them cover that cost, and
I can
we'll
support
cover the
that.
cost of what needs to happen on the other side of the study.
What if there's signs, would they have to put those up, or would we?
We, we don't have an issue putting the signs up, but the placement of them and what's allowed is part of the study. You know
Okay,
what I mean? I think we're taking on too much liability without having the study done. in
Okay.
general.
well, I think there's time if they can
Yes.
get it done quickly.
Is this also a motion that we need to do tonight, or what do we need on this? Just a recommendation?
Discussion,
Yeah, probably just get with, the superintendent or whatever, and just say, our recommendation is get a study, and then we'll work with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
How was the process to discuss with Moon Lake to relocate a pole?
Oh.
Sorry.
That's a big deal.
For free.
No, I'm not saying for free, just wanted to, what do we know?
Postal Service too.
We had to move the one up at the gun range, that
A
cost us
postal
about
service move is a
30
lot different than a pole.
30,000.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Especially, I would imagine that's in sidewalk.
It's like right in the middle of the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Isn't that included in some of the franchise agreement?
I'm not answering.
I just have a question.
And I don't know if it's required to be moved, it was just something, it was just an observation.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on that? All right, I will move down to the CIB priority list, which is tabled.
Okay.
But you do have a copy in your packets
Right.
to take home, and if you'll study that, and then if you have any questions, bring them.
And if you don't mind me commenting, Mayor, probably the most important one is that first year list. Those are the projects where if we needed to go to CIB right now, it's gotta be on that 1 year list, so make sure that year one list is what you guys all agree with, so, and prioritize them.
Do you have, Ryan, do you have an idea of when this needs to go to the CIB?
We've got a couple months, so
Okay.
I think we'll have it on the next, we'll have it in the agenda in May.
Okay. And with that, I will move down to the Cedar View Monwell discussion. I'll leave that to you, Grant.
I've been left out of the loop on that, where I've been invited to meetings, in fact, I've been expressly uninvited,
Yeah.
so I don't know what's going on with that.
The last email that we had on that, did you see those proposals that they sent?
Josh told me about one, and he was gonna, I did get one that I was confused by, and
Yeah, I did too, I got that one.
and then Josh told me that there was another one which might clarify it, that I wasn't included on that.
I would just like to comment, having talked to Sawyer, maybe Sawyer would be better to speak on it, though. They want some money, 15 cents added to help with the tank, but yet we're holding water above them, and we're running water, their water through our system, and we're not charging them, but they want to charge us, so I'm a little
There's water,
concerned.
there's water being wheeled through our system that we brought, actually Ryan and I spoke about that just a little while ago.
With them.
No, just before we came into here, that needs to be looked at as well. And, you know, maybe when they see what it would cost to do the same, they might,
Well, I
the
just
amount
think
of water being wheeled might be greater on our end.
they were supposed to get us some information because they were concerned about a couple things in our last meeting. I haven't seen that, the proposal they sent didn't make sense, as Grant mentioned, so I think if we have another meeting, we need to make sure Sawyer's there, as well as Kirby and, Grant, if possible, if they're willing to meet with him, and then we need to get this hashed out, because I think there's some things I've been told before and I've forgotten. When we met with them, they were kind of a little bit testy about some things, and so we were just trying to calmly meet about stuff, find out what they wanted, but I still think we're not there yet.
Yeah.
So,
Can I talk a little bit on, so today I kind of was just, because I knew this was gonna come up for the wheeling fee, and so the length of pipe that they're asking for the wheeling fee, it's just this yellow portion right here. So if you can just visualize the green, the light green's our pipeline and the yellow's theirs. This is 3.2 miles, 3.25 miles. Well, from this point to our source is 9.25.
so if we reciprocate the fee, they're gonna end up owing us a lot of money.
Yeah, so I just thought you would want to know that information, kind of get a visual on where we're talking and how much, so.
And we're storing water in our tank up there too, right? And then they wanna charge us for storing in theirs, and I'm just like,
Plus, we have pump costs and chlorination costs and
that's right, you mentioned that last time we talked, I forgot. There's some chlorination and some pump costs, so we need to meet again, but they need to be aware that there's other things to consider that we hadn't brought up, and I just have forgotten since it's been a while since we talked about it. And of course, JR was doing a lot of the negotiations with them, and I wasn't as involved. But I think we've kicked this can far enough, we need to get it done, but
Yeah.
we need to bring those things up with them, I think, before we can make it.
Did we, 14 years, was that the correct
They
amount of
said
time?
12 to 14 years, something like that, that it's been kicked down the road, and so.
Grant, you mentioned earlier that you've been removed from the situation, or from the conversation?
The meeting that I think you went to, right, Don?
Yeah.
Josh called me as I was on my way over here to it and said that if I was there, that they would leave.
Was that because they didn't have counsel themselves present?
They just
They-
didn't want any counsel.
They didn't
there.
want
They
any
wanted no
counsel on
attorney
either side.
whatsoever. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't have counsel either, so.
Well, it's-
Aside from the email that I didn't understand, I haven't had any updates.
But
Yeah, I think part of the idea was they don't feel like they've gotten anything out of their own representation as well.
well, I'm not on board with the wheeling fee that we take from them.
well, I just think we need to figure out what we're gonna do on that with us having
Yeah.
water. If they're gonna charge us, then we should charge them the same rate.
Initially, I was like, okay, I get it, we are wheeling our water, but then there was no comment on the idea that we're also wheeling your water.
Well, it sounds like storing it and doing a few other things.
Well, yeah,
And if they really wanted to, we could set two different base rates or two different wheeling fees, because from where we tie into their tank to where we tie into the other side of their system is another 2-3 miles. So we could, if you wanted to play that, then we could have one wheeling fee to their tank and one wheeling fee to their connection.
okay. I just think that they're not thinking of that, or they're hoping we won't think of that, so we need to.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I would like to not have any of our water being wheeled, to be honest.
Well, that was always the plan initially, right? And then we thought this would be cheaper to access that, but it's just been a pain to work with them on this. And I understand they're a smaller entity, they're trying to get what they can, but they shouldn't be doing on the back of the Roosevelt taxpayers especially when we're helping them out both at our tank and wheeling water for them. So. Can you try to meet with them, Mayor, and see if you can
Yeah, I have not heard anything back from them.
Can you maybe reach
I
out?
will have Josh reach out and set that up,
Okay.
so that he's in the loop as well, but.
Let's at least make sure, if they don't want council, I mean, I would prefer that if we had, but if not, let's make sure Sawyer and Kirby are there on that.
Or maybe you, if you've been there.
Yeah, I'd like to be there too
It
if
sounds like
possible.
you're pretty familiar enough on the issues and concerns.
Yeah, I'm happy to be there too. I just wanna make Sawyer and Kirby, I think, are more versed than I am, but yeah.
And Ryan, you attend those as well, right?
Yes, some of them. There was a period where I got booted like Grant for a minute. Now I'm back in.
Okay.
Alright,
All right, well, okay.
Yeah, initially the meeting it went south real fast, and then
we
we
kinda,
were able to pull it back, and after that, it was.
it was okay.
Yeah.
I made a few snide remarks at the end though, cause I wasn't happy, but I tried to not do too much at that point. Alright, are we up to the next one?
Yes, we are, unless we had any other,
No,
okay. So now we come to, what you've been waiting for, our K&K agreement. So just a little bit of background. Well, maybe I'm not gonna steal your thunder. I'm gonna let you.
You steal my thunder every
You
day of
two,
the week.
you two want to step up and come over, and June 30th is correct, is the end of the contract,
The current contract.
so,
In the mayor's words, and he's not stealing my thunder in any way, maybe to preface what we want to talk about a little bit, November 1st of 1977, to be specific, is when K&K and Roosevelt first started doing business. So next year, being 2027, will be 50 years. And we think it's kind of cool that we've had a partnership, whatever, working relationship, whatever you want to call it, for that long. We met with an individual here not too long ago, and those of you who know or who Waste Management is or what they are a national company, mainly service big cities, but they've got some rural roots as well. We met with an individual here not too long ago, visited with him, and he says, do you realize that your business is older than theirs? And we did not know that. But I guess my point with that being, we haven't chosen to go national. We've stayed here at home, and we'd like to stay here at home. So we want to, I guess, make a proposal that if the council is willing, that we would like to enter into a new agreement once this one expires, and keep moving forward. And we do have some thoughts of some promotions or whatever you want to say to honor the 50 years that we have been in business and so forth and so on next year. And so
there were a couple of items that maybe just some cleanup, a little bit of, like building
balances,
cleanup.
I think what Josh
That we're working on, or the city's working on, I think. And we actually met, when did we meet?
about a month
Been about a month.
ago.
So we met in here. It was actually, I thought it was a great meeting. And they were even willing to come in later to fit my schedule. So, but it was a really good meeting. Did we set up a second one? How are you feeling on that? Do we need another one?
I think one of the things that the mayor's referring to there a little bit is there are lots of, and this is not something that we really want, okay? But
within the contract, there's not a lot of things, and my verbiage, my English is terrible, but that supports or backs K&K. I'm assuming that's what you're going with what you were talking about, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, there were some billing things that we needed to
Let's
clean up
say,
and come to agreement with.
you know, we're supposed to be paid by the 20th and we don't get paid till the 28th, for example. Like, we really don't have any way, there's no real enforcement of us getting a paycheck or, I don't know, there's just a variety of things that are within the contract that really don't, that certainly protects the city, which, as from what Josh told us, the way the contract is currently written, because Grant is the one that wrote it up and stuff, if for some reason it ever went to litigation, according to what Josh had mentioned that day, the courts would most likely favor K&K because we did not draw up the contract. We're not going to litigation, so that don't really matter, so. But there are some checks and balances that we would like to see improved in a new contract. And there's also things that are within the current contract that we feel could be
Clarified or strengthened?
a little bit more backing, shall we say. And, you know, for example, we submit changes, and sometimes it goes 3 months before a change is ever made on the building side. And in my opinion, that's unacceptable. Well, it costs us money and it costs you money too. And, you know, I think that there's an email that goes back and forth on a weekly basis. If we could somehow just make sure that those things are being taken care of on a weekly basis, I mean.
We mean like a can needs pulled or someone's not being billed and they're getting the service
Yeah.
kind of a deal.
I mean, we, with our new system, like with our system, we have actually found accounts that the city is not charging water or sewer for. Water, sewer, or garbage, just people are getting a free ride within the city limits.
Is there a possibility or a suggestion that, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, or like a sit down with accounting, your accounting here, I'm just throwing out options.
We've done some of those, and we've come a long ways. We still have a long ways to go. That's my feeling.
You guys build the county residents,
Direct.
like direct bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just asking out loud, would it clean up things if you just direct billed Roosevelt City, the citizens the same way?
That's a great question.
I'm just asking,
It's a great
because I know I was talking to someone the other day, and one person got 3 bills for this same can, one from the city, one from you guys, and one for a mother that also was somehow included. And so I think I agree with you, there's stuff we can do better, there's probably a few things that way we need to clean up, and I'm not sure. I'm just throwing out an idea. And we used to, I think in the past, we talked, and I remember you talked about how we have leverage, but we really don't, because we don't turn water off right away, so sometimes we'll go a few months before we finally have to shut water off on someone. If, for example, if certain entities are helping the people that are, less fortunate, need some help financially, they'll pay water and sewer, but they won't pay garbage. And so, and then in the past, before this agreement, we had some issues with sometimes, we weren't getting paid and yet we were still paying you guys, so the city was losing money. So all I'm saying is if we could clean it up, it might be easier. And if it's not, I'm happy to negotiate. I'm just throwing out an idea.
you're not wrong in anything that you're saying, because it's been brought to our attention that those very things have happened, like what you're saying. The twist side of it is, with our meeting with the mayor and Josh, it's really nice to get one bill. That side of it. The other side of it is, if we do that, we do have to increase our rate because of postage.
Right.
You know, so those are just two small things, but the other side of it is, city ordinance states that everyone in the city has garbage service. And so for the city to implement that and make sure that that's happening, it's best that they take care of the billing.
And I agree with you. I think that's the biggest part is the management. How do we make sure,
Yeah,
like you
I
said,
think if you separate it, then I'm just visualizing like where my apartments are. I can see a neighbor is not getting a can and using my dumpsters, or, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
I can
and
see
that's
us
part
losing a
of
little
why.
control of that.
and that's fine. I'm just talking out loud. I'm not trying to.
That's why it's called a work session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think, to Mayor's point, I think we do need to sit down and go over the contract, especially because it's coming up and we need to renew that.
And I will throw this out there, we do have the ability to sit down and negotiate a new contract or extend the contract with some finite detailing, but
I think we need to,
I'm just throwing those options out there, we have that ability, either or, so we can discuss it more and.
well, it sounds like from
work on a
KK, we
new
probably
contract.
need to review it and edit it. But we also want to make sure we're still protecting citizens, but at the same token requiring people to have one. And if we can work on getting better, and especially it's not fair to them to be paid late. So I agree with that. And if there's changes made, we need to make sure those are done. But it also does require a lot of extra time on our employees to do that. And sometimes it doesn't, get done. So we have to work on that as well. So.
Yeah, we're open to identifying pain points and where we can be a little better. Just grateful for the service you guys have provided for 50
Yeah, you
years.
guys have done a great job. The service has never been the problem. It's just the logistics, this part of it, that's always a little bit of a pain.
We actually did, well, at least I mentioned the alternatives, and I won't say anything else.
Well, like I said, I think we just need to get a meeting, sit down, hash out details, and then bring it back to council. And probably good if mayor and maybe one other, one or two of the council.
I planned on being at our next meeting, and they were really good to say, hey, 4 o'clock or later. That's great for me, so.
We, like I say, in no way do we want to come across as we're perfect in this scenario, because we are far from it.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
We have a ton of room for improvement and stuff. The other twist side of this whole thing is, it's been jokingly mentioned, the fuel side of things. It was not in our plan to talk about money, but we all know where it's at. And in the current addendum to the current contract, it goes by the consumer price index. The consumer price index as of March 11th has gone up 2.4%. We don't want to ask for an increase, but at the same time, the price at the pump is.
We probably need, but that's what I'm saying is I think with the negotiated contract, that needs to be included. But we're, you understand where we're coming from. We're just trying to protect citizens, and we've been very fortunate not having raised water or sewer or some of those things, and we're trying to really avoid that.
I realize
that undue burden.
I realize this comes from it's really easy for me to say this, but food for thought on y'all's side of things, it's not so easy. At one point in time, this may sound like a gruff comment, but nowhere in the contract does it say, Roosevelt City employees will allocate
5 hours a week, and that's the amount that they need to be compensated for what they're doing. At one point in time, the city was keeping, $1.50 per
Right,
account. Like I said, I realize this is really easy for me to say. But if it truly is an issue of
How much time the employees are spending.
and the time that is being taken, may I venture to say that, maybe that fee needs to be back there so that your employees, I say your employees, like it's your fault, it's not, but so that the ways of communication can be better and the time element can be allocated in a little greater detail. Does that make sense?
yeah. No, and that's what I'm saying, I think we just need to set up a meeting, sit down, talk about those things, work some out, so when we get to the end of this, we can have our contract in place, ready to go, and then we're not gonna be missing a beat there. And I think all those things need to be addressed, so.
Curious, you mentioned the software that you're using, is that something that you could allow a user here to have an account and?
Yeah, an extended license.
Absolutely, we could.
Because that would probably save some time sending you an email with changes. that they can-
Back and forth stuff,
I hadn't thought of that, that's a great idea.
The biggest problem is on our side, we have all our,
Learning curve.
Right,
on our side per se, there is a PIN allocated for every resident within the city limits. The problem on our side is even though we have that PIN allocated, it comes across as a $0 amount for us on our side of the system, obviously, because we're not
Because
sending
we're
it
not
out.
doing the
Yeah,
bill.
Right.
Bill.
So the dollar amount aspect of it is kind of where I see some struggling for the drivers, because they are watching a tablet, the customer has 2 cans. It does say on our side, resident 2 cans, but
The struggle I see as much as anything is if we share that with you, it'll come up as a zero amount on the dollar amount, and so all of the customers are gonna show that. So it's not gonna mean a whole lot to your people as far as how much is being billed, unless you can compare that name with your system.
Your system is just allocating who is paying for how many cans, not necessarily what they're paying for those cans.
it honestly needs to be, this is one of the areas where, so when almost 2 years ago, when we switched over to this system, we got a printout. I submitted it to the people, they did an implementation. Don Roosevelt, 2 cans, Bo Hancock didn't actually have any service because of where he lived at. Take that back, because of the HOA side.
No, I had 2 cans for a minute and didn't realize, the situation, yeah.
So there were several things that come up, but basically the name side of it, and this is one place where we've talked today, that is a little bit of an issue. If, for example, that you guys said, you know what, Kincaid, y'all just need to do the billing. The name side of it is lacking extremely
okay,
from being 2 years ago.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. The address, we have strived to keep the address in cahoots, if that makes any sense, whether it's 1 can or 2 cans or whatever it is. But the name side of it is
You're lacking in that piece.
Yeah.
because of the communication factor of between the two of us.
well, I think you guys can help us out based on your comment earlier about people getting water or sewer not paying, if you can help us out.
We have.
And that's what I'm saying, is I think that's why we wanna have that relationship with you guys, cause you can help us out, we can hopefully help you out in a way, but we wanna make sure it's fair and it's reasonable as best we can.
And if there is cans, right now I think it's 50 cents per can that y'all are keeping, which we don't care. Keep $5. Doesn't matter to us as long as we get what's in the contract.
Right, exactly.
What's the train of thought? Where was that?
$5.
Shoot. Like I said, we could really care less what that
Right,
on your guys' side. But for example, at the same time, 50 cents, as I was saying, I remember, if there's 100 cans out there that aren't receiving a second can fee, there's $50 that
right,
is administrative fees back in the city's pocket that
could help cover that.
you are.
Well, I'd say let's get a meeting set up, Mayor, and then whoever on the council can or wants to go, you could just invite. And let's get it hashed out and get it done before, because I know last time that was part of the problem. We were in the middle of stuff trying to do it while we were on an old contract, and so doing it now is much better, so we can be done. And hopefully next year for the 50, we do something fun, so.
Yeah.
I just a quick thought, is we could start with the cleanup week and really start
Absolutely.
celebrating that week, you know, and, you know.
So, and then, as you mentioned that, you know, that was the other thing, cleanup is coming up again here right directly. Mayor and Josh indicated you guys want to be on board with that, and I actually have a deal, if it's all right, we'll leave it at the front office, and if they want better on the front window or whatever, and that, mine's laminated though.
Oh. No, and I think that's what's really cool is that service and I know the city helps cover some of that cost for you guys to.
Well, if we could, you know, just for example, we could fry a hamburger during that same time, or somebody put on some Dutch ovens or something, you know?
Dutch oven, cookout contest,
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
bring it in.
We just won't tell you where the food came
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
With that, no,
Do you need anything else from us?
I don't think so, we just,
We just want to express
we
your
just want to
gratitude.
express our appreciation, and, on that note, at the transfer station, just for tidiness purposes, we have to, when the trailer is full, we have to climb down in and walk across it to make sure no boards or whatever sticking up or out of it. A new employee and that, and, Monday, I think it was Monday of this week. Yeah, I climbed down in there to clean up and stuff, and he comes up, he said, "What are you doing?" Actually, it had been last Thursday, it was last Thursday. I said, "Well," he said, "I was having lunch today, so I'm just looking for oh.
Oh, that's
I
hilarious.
know there's some roadkill in here.
Well, thank you guys, and
No, thank
thanks
you.
for your service and relationship with the city.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
I'll get
David.
that set up.
Yeah.
Is there a day that's better for you?
We'll make any day work. Fridays aren't good, but.
Probably need to get with Josh, figure out.
Yeah, so, is next week a good time, like,
Sure.
except for Friday?
Sure.
Okay,
You can do whatever you like to do.
Okay.
okay, I will get with Josh and we'll get that set up.
Sounds good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I was gonna shout out to Brett, he helped with the parking for Holy Week thing, and it kind of stressed him out a little bit, but he ran with it, and
And the department showed up as well, threw some cones out for us. They weren't there for very long, but the cones were very much appreciated as far as on the city's
We
side.
might could even do a movie night at the park to celebrate, just throwing some ideas out there.
Yeah.
so thanks for that.
It was great, so we
Okay, thank you. So, let me move on now to the procurement policy discussion. That is going to be tabled.
Yep.
The water conservancy discussion, Kirby and Sawyer.
That's why you're here.
Kirby's like, I'm just here to support.
Yeah, we've had lots of discussions. I'll have
How's the council doing this afternoon?
it.
Thank you.
There you go.
So we've been, and everybody can notice, we don't have a lot of snow on the mountains. We don't have a lot of rain coming. It's supposed to be in the forecast that we're supposed to be getting more rain, so hopefully that will help with a lot of our water consumption. I went up to Sand Wash the other day, it's probably about 85% full. That's where we get all of our irrigation water from for our secondary. They're putting a lot of water into it, but we're supposed to start pulling here next week. So where that ends up is gonna be kind of up in the air exactly where it's gonna end up. We do have 3,000 acre feet allocated for the city, for the residents, that includes parks, golf course, and all that. Been thinking about how to help implement our conservation plan, where we are kind of going into a little bit drier of a summer than we have in the past. Just looking at our conservation plan and practices that we have in place right now. Just gonna let everybody know, we're gonna be sending out flyers and Facebook on our bills, especially where secondary kicks in next week.
Yes.
Probably in the week after that, try and get some pressure problems. The district just changed up some PRVs on their side, so trying to get full rate pressure to us will be kind of a hit and miss the next couple of weeks, so we can work out things. But hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll be getting our irrigation system pressurized as well, so.
I think that's great. I'm glad we're trying to be proactive as much as we can. People should know, but it doesn't hurt to have a reminder, so.
And then just looking at Facebook and watching people's reactions, we're gonna have to be the biggest influence on how people handle their water, right? They see us watering in the middle of the day in a windstorm, are they going to wanna follow that same?
And not those exact same pots, we have to be very conscientious that they're watching what we do as a city.
So making sure that we have that under control, that way, if we do have to be a little bit more stringent on our conservation plans, it's easier for people to follow our steps.
So do you have an idea how much water goes through the golf course?
I think
Two,
I have to double check, but quite a bit. I know that on my last report, we just did the water usage report for last year. Not to throw them under the bus, but they used more water than the residents
well, yeah, well,
themselves.
there's a lot more to be watered, but the reason I'm asking is when, we get a couple of residents that have talked about when we power up the golf course and we power up the line and pressure up the line, sorry, their sump pumps go off. So that leads me to believe that we've got a lot of leaks in our golf course. If we had those taken care of, I think.
Part of what's in the CID for the new ones.
Yeah, so,
But there are some things they could do to make sure they're not watering the road,
yes.
letting out their neighbors. I mean, there's things that they could do to help too before that, but.
I'm curious too, do you guys know if there's any like state funding incentives for businesses or anybody to do zero-scaping or things like that?
Wanna say USU is doing some. I think they had some, we went to a conference 2 weeks ago, and there was some mention of residential and a little bit of commercial funding for zero-scapes, even for like updating to like a smart sprinkler system that had like a rain sense and everything on it. That way, if it thinks it's supposed to rain, it's not gonna turn on anything.
These weren't in Roosevelt City limits, but two businesses watering during our only rain we had last week. Kind of
disappointing.
Going
But-
back, oh, go ahead,
Go
are
on.
you, going back to where you said the golf course, just the golf course uses more water than all of the city, Roosevelt City residents.
But it's secondary, right?
It's all secondary.
Yeah, they go
More than
through-
all of the Roosevelt City uses
Secondary,
secondary.
yes.
Okay,
The golf
okay,
course
just wanted to
usually,
clarify that.
they'll hit just barely over 1 million gallons a day. But they've got a lot of acres, the grass is shorter, and we also put a lot of water into the parks too as well, so
Yeah.
it's not just the golf course, but.
Well, a new irrigation line would help tighten things up and
Right.
conserve it. And you can get the humidifiers that go right into the ground and tell you when to water, how much.
I think it would be interesting to see if there is a savings once we get a new line in.
Yeah.
That would give us an
remember how
idea
much
how
water
big
we're
our leak
using.
was.
If we ever get it in, we'll be able to compare. See if it-
Yeah, we have reports we can show.
Yeah.
And generally, the golf course, it's hot months, cold months.
Yeah.
It follows everybody's same, and we can always.
They just have a lot more acreage.
Yeah. And they put out,
Well, Kirby, let's let the rough grow a little longer. So we don't have to water that as much. That's where I spend all my time anyways.
I can say that because it's never there.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about the sand than there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sawyer. Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Kirby.
All right, Don, I'm gonna let you need the,
So I brought this up last time, there's entities in Utah currently that do 410s, Highland City, Midvale. Utah state government did it, they find that there's less commute time, people are actually happier, you can have hours open earlier and later for people that work traditional, that gives them more options. I would recommend that what we do is we approve for maybe June, July, August on a trial 4-day 410s. See if there's feedback, if there's pushback, if people are, this is terrible, then we can always go back to the 5, but at least we'll have some data from the citizens. But having been here on Fridays and it being pretty dead, and it wouldn't preclude, obviously if we needed, we'd have people on call for any emergencies, if there was sewer, water. I mean, that's not gonna go away. We have that anyway. I mean, they have to be available weekends, et cetera. Wouldn't, all we're saying is that,
Are you talking just the people in the city offices?
well, I would say
I'm
city
guessing
employees,
like the park people.
Parks and the golf course people.
Yeah, they're gonna have
that,
to
yeah,
be-
some of them would have to go, but
Does that work for your guys, or is that?
Yeah, absolutely, we actually have been.
yeah.
That
So-
works great for us.
Yeah, I just think we ought to try it and just see if we have to tweak it, or if we just say, this isn't gonna work, we can always go back. But I think a 3-month period, and again, research is showing, that it's good for employees. It's good for the citizens. Yeah, there's one day they're not open, but, having longer hours, I know people work till, 4 or 5 o'clock, and then they need to go to the city and they can't because it's not open, we can be open.
yeah, I ran into that just yesterday.
So,
They got here 2 minutes late and
yeah.
Yeah.
the court was already shut down, so.
Right.
But
You want to speak to people
can we,
here?
actually, I'd like to see like some projected numbers of what we think first, before we do it.
Well, and that's fine, that's why it's a discussion.
I like to come down here on Fridays when I'm not at work, just to be available. I do like that, and, being, not where I'm not full-time here, and being able to come down and be available on Fridays. I do like that, so.
Well, again, it's just my recommendation to try it, but.
I think we should try it too. I'm just gonna ask you why we start in June instead of.
We can start early if you want, I was just thinking summer months, cause I know the school district, they do 410s, I know Moon Lake is currently on 410s right now.
Yeah.
Moon Lake does
And
it like daylight savings time?
So, I'll speak to this just a little bit because I've been doing 410s over 20 years. Moon Lake does 410s year round now.
Oh,
Yeah, they do, yeah, that's what I thought.
it's just anecdotal evidence based on my experience. I feel like I'm way more productive doing 410s. When we would switch, we'd switch for 3 months to 8 hours, and I just didn't feel like that was enough, but we traveled a lot.
Right.
But another thing that did surprise me was when we switched year round, there were some employees that didn't like it. So I'd be curious to hear from
Right.
city employees and just get their.
Well, maybe that's what we do, is we check city if the employees are willing to try it, and then we try it. If we get some pushback from them. I just, like I said, I've been here enough times on Fridays that there's nothing going on. People are just sitting here. I think we could be more productive on 410s. There'd be less commute time. We could shut down offices, maybe save a few bucks. It's not gonna be a ton of money, but if this is shut down, then we save a little bit of money on utilities and things for the city.
Commute time of, what, 3 minutes?
Well, the commute for employees coming in and out, that's one less day for commute. Plus, they could then use Fridays possibly for doctor's appointments or other appointments possibly like in the city. Whereas now they'd have to take time off, so we'd have employees actually at work where we could request they plan. I know that, for example, Tabiona and Altamont both are on a 4-day. All the ball games have to be Thursday night, Friday, Saturday. They can't leave during, and if they have to leave too early on Thursday, they can't. They have to wait till Friday morning to leave for a ball game, and they usually plan that weekend. And so, having seen Kirby out at the city at a doctor's appointment, it's just, he had to take time off. Granted, that's not gonna happen all the time, but if you can schedule a Friday for those kind of things, that just makes it easier. So I'm just saying is I think it's worth looking at, and like I said, I'm willing to just do a trial, get some feedback, and then if
I'm willing to do it. Me personally, as a resident, being on the board of Moon Lake, I wasn't happy with 410s. I thought the office up front could be open to take bills. People get paid on a Friday, they don't get paid on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or
Right.
Thursday. So I've often thought it's like, well, go Tuesday to Friday then, have Monday off. But that was my opinion. As a resident, I'm like, I pay all my bills myself. It's not so much of an issue now because I come in, anytime I come into the office, I can pay it, but.
well, and so many are now doing online bill pay,
Yeah.
There's there's quite a few that
still come in.
want to come into the office and come up to the drive up window.
Well, the drop box is still open out there.
Yeah.
And we have a Dropbox too.
Well, I mean, what are the employees?
That's what I'm.
That's what I'm wondering too.
But then I'm like, as a person that's working on a salary of 50 hours a week, it's like, oh, so now they don't have to take an appointment. They get the day off, and then I have to take a day off and go to any appointment. So when you said they don't have to take a day off and schedule it for Friday, I was like, I work at the wrong place. So.
Well, I did too when I worked for the district, because I had to schedule after school or I had to wait till summer sometimes. So maybe what we could do is have Ryan get feedback from the employees, what they think, bring it to council in May, and then we can make a decision.
I would, I would prefer that.
Okay.
And maybe even a projection of maybe what we think we might save
Okay.
going to a 410.
Yeah, I mean, I can spit out all the pros and cons too right here for me personally or for the crews, but ultimately they gotta have a say. So I don't wanna speak for all the employees. I mean, for me, I think I'm already putting in 510 maybe. So 410 sounds nice, but again, on the flip side, having a Friday to catch up on things, and it is slow here. It is not busy at all. Now, however, do we have people coming in? Yes, we do. But I would dare bet money on we have more people showing up late, wanting to come in
After the 5 o'clock.
after.
Yeah, and that's
So
where
that's going to be a key element, I think, if we do this, that we need to be here
Yeah.
at that prime time after.
right, and that's my point. They need to be open too.
And
So would you open at 8 until 6 or 7 until 5?
Didn't we go 7 to 5:30? Is that what it was?
So a little history,
We copied,
what he's done.
we mirrored Moon Lake for years. In fact, when I was first hired, that's what we did is we mirrored Moon Lake on what they were doing, and the winter months we,
Why did you go back?
It was a different council and mayor change.
Yeah, mayor-
We did it
was
several
kind of-
years, that's what I was gonna comment on. We did it several years. To
Yep.
me, it ran smoothly. There was no issues. Yes, is it a little different for each department? Yes. But my department in particular, I can speak for all my guys in my department, it works fantastic. It's not only jobs you set up for, you get completed, you're not tearing back down, resetting up.
One more day,
Yes,
you're
yes, ma'am. And
starting
they
and
do try
stopping.
to schedule, I ain't saying all the time, but they do try to schedule things on Fridays with their kids, a dentist, or whatever it may be. And morale wise and everything is fantastic. And you do save in fuel, electricity, I ain't, like Don said, not a lot, but yes, you do. And it worked great for several years, but as we know, council mayor, there's different opinions of what may or may not be good for them, but that's my opinion.
and back then it was before we had express bill
Yes.
pay, before we took credit card.
Yeah.
So now there's options, right, to pay and even
Yeah.
on call, so.
Absolutely.
Another thing to look at it too, I'm thinking here, even for the admin here, we're always at either planning and zoning, city council, RPR, like there's always later meetings anyway, so we're here and we're gonna be here till 5:36 or whatever, so. But we're willing to try whatever, if you want the data and you want us to compile some stuff and talk and
And some
we're willing to
feedback
do
from
that.
the people.
Yes,
Yeah, from
please.
the employees and
Okay.
everything.
we-
Like I said, I think we get the feedback, we can make a decision in May and then,
Would feedback from residents be valuable as well?
well, until
Like
they,
a
until,
online poll?
No, I say we ask the employees and then we give it a trial run, and if you get a lot of kickback. from
and then, yeah, cause I think you'll get
We can just
pushback
say
from.
it's
You
gonna
always
be a
get a bigger
trial and
voice
then-
with the negative.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
On the contrary, the commissioners asked us to be open on Saturday. And so like, I would love to be on a 4-10 schedule, but if we were to do that on our side, it would be,
Well, you'd probably take
Your
Monday.
service is really
You'd probably
needed.
take the Monday off and be open on a Saturday or something, right? Cause that's,
Well-
when your transfer station is busy.
it really doesn't matter. All I'm getting at is that we are asked to be there on Saturday. And honestly, what we pay doesn't come back in.
Yeah, I'm not busy enough anyway.
It's not.
Yeah.
It costs us money to be open on Saturday, but because of the fact that the landfill is 40 miles that way and 30 miles that way, we are asked to be open on Saturday.
Yeah.
So there's opposition in all of it. However, we have worked it out to where we are able to have a schedule for our guys where they have every other Friday off. They're in a group that works for one, and so we rotate through. And as far as David and I go, we can't wait for Friday to come.
I think you're making a point between private
There
and
you go.
city, county government or state government. Private enterprise, you don't sleep. Really, I mean, I'm on call 24/7, so.
And I just want to make a quick comment on something like that. The confusion becomes with the residents. Last thing like this, you're off, you're off. There's not no gray area where they're wondering you're open, you're not open. It's cut dry, basically, you know what I mean? Like say half the crew's here Monday, half the crew's, there Friday. I do know in the past that just doesn't work. You confuse the residents.
Well, I think we have some information to gather and we can decide next time. I have a meeting in Altamont I'm kinda hoping to get to, but, we also have the police.
You're here till it's done. Kidding.
Thank you, Mayor.
Grant, were you aware of this were you on the document?
training.
Yeah,
I'm ready to do it whenever. We do it every year. I was talking to Ryan about it though, where Rowdy's not here, it's required for the council once a year. With Rowdy not being here, if we do it, he's gonna have to figure out a way to make it up. For that reason alone. I
Can
was
we
just gonna
postpone
wait
that
till
until
we
he's
get
here
all
then?
five. Yeah, and I'm able to do it anytime.
Let's do that then.
Okay, Ryan, you're up with the city manager's report.
No, we got the police department.
I'll help you out
Oh,
there.
sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I'm moving down too fast.
I've been waiting for this one, I'm excited for this one.
These are our quarterly statistics from January to March.
Sorry, I thought I was at the end of the line.
I'm just gonna go through them a little bit. Our service calls, which is what dispatch gives us, were 2,535
Let's see.
for the 3
Has
months.
that dropped?
No, it's the first time me pulling that, so.
I've monitored these before.
I know we have a
the calls
certain person in the community,
there. Yeah.
could you elaborate
There
on
was a
that?
bet when that would come up.
Yeah.
First of all, I've watched these calls here, they go up and down, so it's about an average.
Okay.
But we have, and I left my sticky note, there was 63.
37 from that.
Yeah, from that.
37 from the one individual.
There was
In this
49, but 37 in the city limits from that.
That's a
That's
a lot.
These calls right here are all, they can be just about anything ranging from citizen assist to actually a domestic or anything like that.
Right.
This is what we get charged with, now dispatch comes up with the cost as well. For each year.
Our traffic stops by the officers were 1178.
You can add one more, I got stopped today.
That'll be the next quarter.
Oh yeah, we're in April.
Citations issued, actual citations were 131. Written warnings were 245, which are, and then the rest were verbal.
I think that's important for people to note, in talking to the chief, they're not just writing tickets right away, they're visible, they have the lights going, they're talking to people, they're, giving warnings, if they have to give a ticket, they will, but they're, to have 1178 traffic stops and only 131 citations, they're really trying to work with the citizens, right, which I appreciate.
I think that's, they're there to help keep the community safe.
Yeah,
Created 359 cases. We had 89 arrest cases for adults and 16 for juveniles. That doesn't take in all the offenses for arrest. People arrested for multiple things in one setting. So there were 226 offenses arrested for adults and 48 for juveniles. And there were actually 98 adults arrested because in some of those cases we arrested multiple people, and 22 juveniles. We had 42 traffic accidents in the city, 48 animal-related service calls. We had 35 CAN-Rs, those are child abuse neglect reporting reported. Some of those can be duplicated, reported multiple times. So 26 of those received cases are being investigated or have been investigated. We have active cases, meaning we're still investigating them, but like detectives are investigating. There will be 17 of those that we still have open right now from that period. 236 were opened and closed out, meaning they either were arrested or there was no further investigation we could complete on those. And total active cases from the start of our reporting system is 61, meaning those are open cases, warrants we're waiting for, stuff like that are still sitting. long-term cases, homicide, stuff like that that we're holding on to, those will be those. I broke them down into the arrest into adults and juveniles, what we arrested for. We had 8 aggravated / simple assaults that were domestic related in this period, we arrested for. 1 evading.
Which, let me just take a note on that. I don't know what our stats are 4 years ago, but we, it seemed like we had an evading every other weekend.
Right.
We did.
And there's a policy out that the neighboring agencies that they do not chase. I elected to go the other direction with a strict policy
Sergeant's monitor.
and supervisor monitoring. The other agencies seem to have them run them on all the time. This right here shows that it's working.
They run on us less than the east.
And Uinta County.
Uinta County gets right on quite a bit.
In fact, some people, that's what they do, they try to run to Uinta County or.
Yeah, they do. It's just, that means that policy in my eyes is working, it's effective.
Other aggravated simple assaults, there were 5. Liquor offenses and talk, stuff like that, were 13. Drug-related offenses were 50. Larceny, theft, burglary, we had 6 arrests. Other domestics, which are like protective order violations, stuff like that. We had 9 traffic offense arrests, 58. That'd be like your suspended licenses, stuff like that. Arrest warrants, we were able to get 40. DUIs, we had 7. Law enforcement officers killed or assaulted, was just assaulted would be 1 during that period. Child abuse / sex offenses, we arrested on were 2. There were other felonies of 6 and like lead or weapon offenses type things. And then other things such as disorderlies and stuff would be 20. We have 20 of those. Juveniles, 7 assault / aggravated, 3 alcohol offenses, drug-related offenses, 11. Arrest warrants, which are for juveniles or pickup orders usually. 1 traffic offense, arrest, 1 officer assaulted. School-related offenses such as disorderlies in schools or whatever, 7. 3 other felonies and 14 other waste and school misdemeanors.
You know, I remember when I first got on, Lieutenant Tucker presented some stuff, and it feels like just, I mean, these numbers feel like they're lower in a lot of areas. And it feels like, you know, like I said, I know they're out and about. I meet with the officers quite often, and they're working hard to keep us safe, and it feels that way just looking at some of these numbers.
You keep speaking, you can meet with them more often.
I know.
Chief, in the traffic accidents, do we have an idea of how much of that has been like on Highway 40?
I could separate that and give it to you.
I mean, it's not important. I just was like, maybe off the top of your head.
A lot of, I'd say half of our things are, accidents are coming out of businesses, mostly just we get a pile of them at Stewart's backing in, but those are probably half of those. We don't get, probably 10 of those are probably major accidents on that, I would guess.
Are there any data trends that give you guys concerns or
I mean,
that you've noticed?
not gonna give me concerns, but there's, I mean, we are high on the drugs and
That's a little bit higher than normal, is
Yeah.
that typical with
not for my experience from this area, that's a pretty consistent statistic.
That's still concerning per capita.
Yeah, we get a lot of come through from out of state with marijuana still being legal, we get a lot of that. And we get some from the neighboring agency that comes in here. So we stay pretty high in that area.
I'm concerned about the 37 calls from the one individual, because it does take time and money and energy to deal with that, and I wish there was a way we could.
Is she still calling?
Oh, yeah.
She's picked it up very heavy again,
Oh, really?
really.
She's living in her vehicle, I saw her.
In a parking lot?
And
So, yeah.
she kind of migrates to church.
Yeah, she's not allowed at her dad's house anymore.
Well, what kind of support do you need?
It's a recorded meeting, so.
I'm glad you went the other way on the evading.
I was pleased with that outcome. There's several things there that we'll address, and you're done.
I hope so.
Thanks, man.
There's several things that we want to target. My primary attitude coming here was deterrence and deterring the crimes, deterring, in one way we do that, both visually and having these guys out here are being seen, is by having a strict enforcement attitude, and that has paid off immensely. The drugs, I turned my attention on a little bit of some of the cases of CANAR or child abuse cases that are going to the detectives right now. A couple of years back when we had our homicide, we're aware of. After that, I was kind of caught a little short on detectives. Since then, the detective division has beefed up. I'm in the process right now of switching a patrol sergeant into the detective sergeant's position and switching back out with the attitude of first and he left really quick, but Morant will be going to detective sergeant. He's going to help concentrate more on the ordinance enforcement and the animal control, which the detective sergeant is the supervisor of. I think we need to zero down a little bit more enforcement and everything like that. We've had those discussions and some of the animal calls and things that we have. As far as what the detectives are doing, they're top-notch, excellent detectives working really well. It's taking Clint over into patrol. I need these patrol officers. When you're on patrol, a lot of times you grow so much without getting that investigative experience, where Clint's able to show them more on how to talk and how to collect information stuff to make the case that much better from the very start. It's usually where you fall apart on a case is right there in the initial patrol or response section. Those are things I'm working on now. The other thing that we're working on that, I'll be quite frank, I think we wish we didn't, right, LT, is the accreditation. We are working on accreditation. We have been working on accreditation through Utah Chiefs Police Association. And we are moving, not too bad, but it's probably another year or so. But we are tackling it, and it can be painful, we'll be quite honest with you.
Been painful.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Lieutenant Tucker is really he's taking the lead on it. He has his every meetings on Thursday mornings to sit down and go through what we need to do. He gives out assignments and everything, and I walk out with a big stack full of papers. But anyway, that's kind of the gist of what we're up to and kind of the flavor that I'm trying to mold with the police department. They've come a long ways. I've had great success in the last several years with the department, and it's all credit to these guys and what we've allowed them to do and the investment that they have in their department, and I'm really impressed. With that, I'll answer any questions at all if you have.
Let me get back to the youth, those breakdowns.
Yep.
Are there areas within the city that they have more frequency of happening? Yes.
Park. Well, first it was the college parking lot. They have since blocked that off, and they seem to move. Now, unfortunately, we're in a small city, and I know exactly there's not a lot to do. A lot of us have grown up in small cities. That's kind of the flavor, unfortunately. But right now, they are congregated up at the park. They were causing some issues. There's two groups up there. One group was starting to cause some issues. We increased the lighting up there and enforcement, and tried to interact with them a little bit more. That's alleviated some of the issues, but mostly Constitution Park is the answer to your question.
Would it help if we had more cameras there, or just is the lighting
I think we're being effective, but where we kick them out of there, they may end up in his front yard, or they may end up, or whatever. And
They'll take them, he'll feed them hot
you know,
dogs.
Corn dogs.
and I don't know exactly how to tackle that. So I think they know that we are watching, and we only tolerate so much chaos. And we pretty well have it under control now. Got out of control there for about a month or so, just a ways back. But now that I said that, I don't know if we're gonna cross anything. But, yeah. And those juvenile arrests, I believe, is actually down.
Yeah, I was thinking it was down.
Yeah, they're actually down from years past, especially.
Well, I was gonna sneak out unless the mayor, okay. The mayor said it'd stay, so I was waiting. Thanks, chief.
We appreciate, I notice the amount of patrol cars that are visible and out loud, and I see one every morning through the school zones and almost every time I leave for work. It's good, the visibility's good.
Remind me, I think we've talked about this, the budget, you have budgeted one more this year or two?
No, city council graced us with one last year that we have filled. We're actually down technically half of one or a quarter of one. So we're gonna try to finish filling this next budget. So it was the college position, which they paid for half. And we're trying to work with the budget to make up part of that. If we can bring another officer on for a fraction of the price of a full-time officer, that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Would you prefer a full-time officer?
Mhm.
I know it was a dumb question.
And we intend on putting that extra position over into the detective division with an emphasis on the drug problem. That's one of the things I'm concentrating on.
I did get-
Is there any more other resources that you need?
Is that an open check?
Just a question.
We've been very blessed with you guys and what we've asked for and what we've given. And Mr. Baker's been really good too to hear us out, and we, on this next budget here, we do have a handful of things. It's actually cost increases mostly is what's in that budget, with the exception of that detective we just talked about. The equipment, we have the new patrol cars that are out there. Some of you seen the Durangos on that lease program.
You have them now? I haven't seen them.
Yeah, there's a few of them out there. In fact, Councilman Boozenbark can attest to one of them.
What color are they?
They're black and white. A couple of them are detective rides, which of course are unmarked. But we definitely don't hesitate to ask for anything that we need forward or whatever it would cost, but we appreciate the question.
Likewise. You guys do.
You guys should have a initiation for all the councilmen, that they go wear the dog suit and.
Hey, catch a dog?
Yeah.
We can do that.
I think I'm the only one that's done it so far, so.
Well,
you were.
we have that, and also the taser, you can take your pick.
Well, I don't know about that.
No.
We should go try it. Pretty intense.
The
taser or the dog?
The dog. So at the end of the month, we have the Drew Cox Memorial Canine training that we host. Long story short, who knew Drew? Any here? Drew, he used to be at 1, 2, okay.
I remember.
All right. Drew was a Roosevelt city officer back in the day. He went over and was my assistant chief when I was the chief in Naples for quite a few years. When I left and came here, he was the chief, then he passed away from a heart attack in his backyard. He was big on dogs. He helped me with my dog program that we had over in Naples. And he had a little seminar group that attracted 20 or 30 canine handlers a year that we kind of hosted over in Naples. Since we're no longer there, I have one of the officers that remembers that, Jared Harrison, and he has since revitalized that And for the last 2 years, this is the third year, right? And it's at the end of this month for the week. And I tell you that because they are catching dogs. But just a side note, it starts the 27th. And they'll be around town here in Bernal with a bunch of dogs. Just a side note on that, I'm quite impressed with what they do. The state of Utah and the big agencies, West Jordan, Sandy City, the Utah State Prison with their dog teams all sent their dogs to Nevada and to Las Vegas to their schools, obviously, for big. They do not want to go. They want to come to ours. And that's quite for what these guys, or our canine guys do. In fact, we had to turn down a few dogs because we didn't have the instructors. This is when we land a helicopter too out in the field over here at the high school. So this last couple of weeks at the Utah Chiefs Association conference, I get approached by all the chiefs that I associate with, telling me how them guys, they even tried driving them to go to other if they want to come here. So that's quite impressive what we do. But if you want to catch a dog, we're catching dogs at the end of the month, then just find me or find one of the sergeants and we can catch a dog.
What do you mean by catch a dog? Do you mean
In a suit.
put the suit on and let the dog catch you?
Yeah, well, that's it.
The dog, okay.
Yeah, if I'm listening, you catch the dog.
I'm like trying to chase you, I don't know.
There'll be a lot of that going on, and they do like fresh meat. So anyway.
They can smell the fear.
A little bit.
Yeah. No, that's.
Do you have any questions for me, John?
No,
Appreciate.
Thank you.
That's April 27th?
Yeah, that's the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Very good.
Thank you. What's that? Okay, now the manager's report.
Don't worry, I won't take as long as chief.
That's an inside joke, by the way.
It is.
Shots fired.
Just as a reminder, ULCT, we won't have city council in 2 weeks, so you should have gotten everything from Brock. I'm sure Farce Hotel and everything, correct? Hopefully. Okay. If not, reach out and we'll get it to you. And then I'm just gonna go over just a couple things that I'm thinking you'll get phone calls or questions about, so little fires. You're all aware of the golf cart situation at the golf course, that there's no golf carts allowed. I talked with Mike today, kind of get an update on that, just to see where we're sitting in case you get hit up. And it's not gonna be exactly the 15th, it's gonna be pending on the condition of the course. So it's all, but his goal is to be hopefully the week of the 25th, that he'll have cards back on there and be ready for that first tournament. So
He was even talking to do a partial 9 or something for cars depending on the condition, but whichever direction, because I'm
Yeah.
full supporter of what you guys decide.
Okay. And the course is starting to rebound. You can
Yeah,
tell
it's already looking
that,
better.
that storm, just that one storm alone, all of a sudden this thing started growing, so. Another thing that's shut down is the gun range. We have April 15th, but that could change with Prolog. They're not quite done with what they're doing, so we may go a little bit further out than that, so they could extend to the end of April, depending on their situation, so. I'm sure you haven't got phone calls on State Street and the light. Maybe you have the pedestrian crossing project, the light signal there that's controlling traffic. It was delayed at 10 minutes. Now, however, everybody's been getting impatient and just blowing through it. And then they come up head to head to the Traco unit and wonder what's going on. So it just kind of has created a mess. So I talked to them today, they've lowered it to 6 minutes. delay, and I went through it just to kind of see how it was, and it's really not that bad. You just gotta be patient, so. But I knew that it was 6 minutes.
When I've come and gone through there, I just go through Northtown and work around it, and
Yeah.
there's other options to get around the spot, so.
And they have said that the traffic has slowed down.
Did appreciate them cleaning up for
Yeah.
our event last
Looked a
week,
lot
so that
better.
was nice.
I don't know if any of you know this, but after Holy Week, Ryan and I went and tackled they had a hose that was rubbing on a rock that finally blew up, and anyway, we took a few minutes. Luckily, there was another hose that they had. We were able to grab that hose. It was, probably took us longer to find the hose than it did to put the hose on. It was a 2-minute fix, but we got her done, and so kudos to Ryan.
2-minute fix and an hour cleanup.
Yeah, muddy shoes and all.
Getting in the mud. I've been in the office too long, so you don't save me.
Oh, you know. Glad you don't have to get dirty.
Yeah. I did have one here, secondary, but Sawyer already mentioned that, so 15th, we're still planning on, correct?
Yes.
And then obviously the free dump week, and Kells took care of that, so that's all I had, unless you had any questions for me, so.
No, I don't believe I did.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
That was quicker, Mark.
I'll take notes, thank you.
Okay, committee reports, anyone with a report?
I will just follow up with our Holy Week walk. We had an awesome turnout. A lot of people came. A lot of help from the community, so it was good.
We had live animals, it was awesome. and-
We filled the container that the city bought for them with all the things that they'd made, and so that was greatly appreciated, and they were just really grateful for all the support the city gave them, so.
Yeah, greeting at the front, and as we had it was about a 7-minute recording that they listened to before they went from station to station. While they were sitting and listening to that, each group that came in, I would try and do a head count. And it's not 100% accurate, but my unofficial head count was 2,091 people that actually did that. Now, there were some that came in from the top and snuck in and then went with a group, but
And there were people that had
unofficially-
been at a different station doing their part, and then they'd come go through groups, so they would
so unofficially, 2,091 people came through in initially what would have been 4 hours, but turned into 5 easily. So, my opinion, this has potential to be a full day, possibly leading to 2 days, and then possibly even a Friday night, Saturday and Sunday. So, it was, probably the only issue is the wait, I would think.
Yeah.
People
Did
were,
the parking
some people
space
upwards of
run
2
around?
hours.
Once I called Kim and got permission from Kim I was never relayed the fact that Kim had given the go-ahead, but Kim Harding had the property there to the north of CB&M, and we filled that up as well. Like, that's the biggest dilemma is, the biggest
Parking for that
dilemma is
many people.
getting people through, but yes, parking was an issue as well. But not really, I mean, President Allred had done his part by painting lines and stuff, and we didn't have any, I mean, it's hard to get people to use the crosswalk. I mean, they're gonna do what they wanna do. Doesn't matter, but it was.
Yeah.
It was good.
That was probably a big thing, but I did have everyone that said, despite the wait, it was worth waiting for. It's an awesome project that I think those that participated did a great job, so.
Yeah, so thanks for the support from the city on behalf of Interfaith.
I do have one appointment that I'd like to make tonight to the Arts, Parks and Rec. We had a couple, I did go to the Arts, Parks and Rec committee meeting, and That will be Chevelle Henley on the Arts, Parks, and Rec Committee. She actually showed up here tonight, and she was headed to another meeting, so I was like, don't need to be here, you're good. And she was endorsed by Wayne, Lynn Wayne Labor.
Oh, yeah, I can see her
So,
as I walked in.
yeah,
Yeah.
so very good. And you and I have had some discussions on your golf committee, and I don't know if we're ready to get you a committee going, or would you like a recommendation on that as
I
well?
just need to know the process to get it started and formed.
I'll hold off then, and let's get you what you need first
I
before
think
we do
Rowdy,
that.
I think Rowdy has some ideas, and we've got some people that he knows of that are interested in being a part of that.
Okay.
Yeah, just whatever it takes to get started.
Okay. All right. With that, probably the last thing is with the council, I'm a little nervous as far as this summer coming up. We've alluded to lack of water. We do have a potential of a lot of wildfires, and I think we've had a few call-outs already that, I don't know how many, but there've been several that I do know that we've had called out on wildfires. And I've seen them in Fort Duchesne, I've seen them above Little Mountain, Rivola Dugway. That one seemed to be pretty big, but are we interested in any management, like emergency management training? Myself, I am, but I don't know if that would be something that maybe Josh and I coordinate and then update the council on, or?
When you say emergency management training, you mean for the fire department specifically?
No, I'm like wildland fires or any natural disaster that the city, I say fire because that's probably the obvious one that is coming up this summer if it continues to be dry.
Yeah.
But any type of a wild, natural disaster training for the city if something was to hit,
Well, they might have something
They
like
may
that
have.
there to do, I don't know.
Yeah, most entities and,
Mhm.
utility companies, they have those emergency
Yeah.
management response plans in place. But I would coordinate with Josh and see what we have presently.
I would really like it. I mean, I would like to be able to, like I say, when I go out and I get on a rig or whatever, it's like, what can I do to get in your way is how I would feel. It's trying to help and you're just in the way, so I would rather be able to help in an emergency situation rather.
Yeah, I'd ask Josh and see what the city already has in place and if we need to.
Mayor,
figure it out.
if I can ask, are you referring just to the city council getting training or all the staff, or just?
Well, maybe
Because Duchesne County.
maybe I could say leadership and they decide who in the leadership needs it.
Yeah, we would send a few to Duchesne County. They would hold an emergency training once a month. And we'd have someone represent the city there. Usually it was Dean and I went too. So Josh Phillips is the one now that trains those.
Okay,
I can get with him and see what
okay,
he has on his schedule if you want.
yeah.
If that helps.
Yeah, I'm just, when we say wildfires in Roosevelt City, we probably, within the city, probably are not gonna have that, but we have a lot of agricultural fields on the edge within the city that, could lead to fires, and you never know, somebody's home burns down, and you happen to get a wildfire that starts burning a house, and then a house catches another house on fire, and pretty soon you have 10 or whatever,
Well, and to add to that too, you've got something coming up here in a couple months that people like to play with, so just be thinking ahead on that one as well.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say the word, but we all know it's fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, I've burned this all the time too.
So, yeah, and I think the county, did they just start a burn restriction right now? Just barely, and I think the city adopted it as well, Lee. no burn,
No burn at all right now in the county.
Right.
correct, and city limits.
Also.
That's good to know. That's probably the last thing that I had, unless, Grant, did you have anything that you needed to discuss?
No, with the, just a question, on the training you're talking about, are you thinking like a leadership training, so, I'll, get with you with some statutes and, so you understand how the departments work together and who's in charge, but, Josh Phillips ultimately is the one
Okay.
who is in the leadership position if there's that kind of a fire.
Yeah,
But I'll get the statutes together and show you so you understand.
yeah,
how
I
it
mean,
works.
I am so brand new that, you know, like I said, what can I do to get in your way? Kinda how it would be, so.
It's okay, Tommy, I get that every day at work too. Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's like, yes, yes.
Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do I have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Okay.